Thank you. We'll now go to Senator Rennick.
Hi. My first question is for the Assistant Minister, Senator McAllister. Minister McAllister, Senator McAllister. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but the Bureau has 3 data sets, basically raw data, Acorn 1 and Acorn 2. The Acorn 1 and Acorn 2 are homogenised data sets. In terms of trying to measure the temperature going forward, because as you know, the Albanese government has signed up to reducing carbon emissions by 43% in order to, limit the world's temperature by 1.5 degrees, which data set will the government be using to benchmark by?
Thanks, Senator Rennick. I'll pass to Senator Johnson to talk through.
Well, actually, might ask Dr. Stone to answer that, Senator, if that's okay. Senator Rennick, if that's all right with you. I know you and Dr. Stone have been long-standing correspondence on this matter.
Many conversations over the years.
No, thanks for the question. Peter Stone, Group Executive, Bureau of Meteorology. Now, thanks very much for the question. The Bureau will continue to acquire about 1 billion observations every day and make those available as data in 4 main categories. And there's 4 categories because different data are used for different purposes. The 4 categories of data that we have are raw data.
Yeah.
So that's data initially received by the Bureau from instruments and observers. That's the data that is mainly used for current weather observations, such as those that appear on the Bureau of Meteorology website or the app. So that's raw data. The second category of data is quality control data. That's raw data for key variables that undergoes a higher level of quality assurance. That's the most common form of data used by Bureau customers, for example, observed historical rainfall or temperature data for a particular location. It's important to know too, that's actually the data that is used for most standard reporting, including, for example, the hottest or coldest days on record, and how far temperatures have been above or below average for a given period. So that's quality controlled data.
Yeah.
Third category of data is homogenised data. We'll continue to acquire observations and, as a third category, homogenise it. Of course, that's where the data are used to assess long-term temperature change and variability. And so that's the Acorn SAT data that you're referring to. And the fourth category of data that we make available is gridded data sets. So that's really a statistical treatment of the data, so that rather than being point estimates for given places, so for example where there is an automatic weather station, it gets treated so that it can appear on a map, and that's as gridded data sets. And so we'll continue to take our roughly 1 billion observations every day and make those available as data in those 4 categories.
But which one are we going to use as the benchmark to work out is the temperature increasing or decreasing?
Yeah, so it's the homogenised data that is created in order to create that long-term temperature trend.
So that homogenised data is not the same as the raw data. You basically change that. Homogenised data is, whatever I say, you're going to say, but it's not the same as the raw data. So there's an amount of human interaction with that.
Absolutely.
So I guess my problem is, if you wanted to sort of say it's Senator, when you're changing the numbers from the raw data, how do we know that it's the right data? And I remember the marble bar conversation where you make 400 million iterations to the maximum temperature and 250 million iterations to the minimum temperature. It's pretty hard for that to get audited to know that the data's got integrity. I guess that's my problem, is that how can we genuinely benchmark temperature with that many sort of, as you say, there's 1 billion recordings every day.
Yeah, look, understood. So that's why there's the 4 categories of data available. I mean, homogenisation is a statistical treatment of data to take out known anomalies in that data. So we'll continue to do that because it's fit for that purpose. I do just want to be clear. The raw data, the quality assured data, and if you want to grid it and look at it, all show an increasing temperature trend.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
And look, so then with these billion recordings you get each day, do you have a supercomputer for that, don't you?
Yep, they're assimilated, and
Yeah.
many of those observations are used in our numerical weather prediction models,
Yeah.
which are used to create the forecast.
And that cost 40 million, didn't it?
Sorry?
That cost 40 million, did it? Is that true? Did I read that?
what cost?
How much did that
The
supercomputer?
supercomputer, I
Yeah,
can
how much
give
did
you
it
the exact
cost?
number. So we have a supercomputer that's running as we speak. Senator, if you wish to wait a minute, I can get you the actual number. It's of that order.
Right, yeah.
If you'd like an exact number, I can take it on
Oh,
notice.
I just want
But
us to
it's
round
of
that amount. I just
uh,
find it interesting because everyone's jumping up and down about your name change for 200 grand, but there's a supercomputer you bought for 40 million that homogenises data that I don't think people are aware of at all.
Yeah. Yep. So yes, it's. I'll get that to you on.
Yeah, that's all right.
But it's of that order.
Of that order.
Of
Okay,
that order.
thanks, guys.
Authorised G. Rennick, LNP Chermside.